Hello everyone, welcome to MBBS classes. Myself Dr. Hanifa. Today in this video I'll be talking on quinsy, or it is also known as peritonsillar abscess. Quinsy is known as peritonsillar abscess because there is a collection of the pus in the peritonsillar space. The peritonsillar space, it is a potential space between the tonsil and its bed, and it contains the loose areolar tissue. It is one of the principal complications of the tonsillitis, and among the deep neck space infection, it is the most common deep neck space infection, the other deep neck space infection being the retropharyngeal abscess and the parapharyngeal abscess. So the quinsy is defined as unilateral inflammatory process that involves both the tonsil parenchyma and the peritonsillar tissue. So this is how it differentiates itself from the tonsillitis. In the tonsillitis, only the tonsil parenchyma is involved, but here in quinsy, the peritonsillar tissue is also inflamed. So since quinsy is about the abscess of the peritonsillar space, so the peritonsillar space, if you see here, it is a space between the tonsils and the tonsillar bed. And the tonsil bed is formed by the pharyngobasilar fascia, one thin muscle, that is the superior constrictor muscle, and the buccopharyngeal fascia. So if you see, this is the tonsil and it is separated from the tonsillar bed by a space. And this space, if you remember, it contains the loose areolar tissue, and there can be a collection of the pus due to the infection of the tonsils. And if you see here, the superior pole of the tonsil is hidden underneath the soft palate, and it is in immediate relation to the soft palate. So any inflammation or abscess in the peritonsillar space can also lead to the edema of the soft palate and the uvular region. Now let us see the pathogenesis of the quinsy. It is seen that it occurs following the recurrent attacks of tonsillitis. And what happens following the recurrent attacks of tonsillitis? There are crypts on the medial surface, and from these crypts, the infection can travel up to the tonsillar capsule, and once it reaches the peritonsillar space, the first stage of inflammation or infection is the stage of cellulitis. This stage is called the peritonsillitis, and the peritonsillitis stage is one stage ahead of the formation of the abscess. So when the inflammation it proceeds, there is a collection of the pus and it changes to the abscess formation, and this stage is known as the quinsy. If we see the clinical presentation of the patients, it can affect any age group, but the most common age group affected is the adolescents and the young adults, and they have a history of acute tonsillitis, and most commonly they present after the chronic or the recurrent tonsillitis. So these group of patients, they will have a unilateral pain of the throat, and the character of the pain is severe. They will have a sharp, severe pain that is lateralized to one side only. Unlike in tonsillitis, the pain is on the both the sides. Then the pain is so severe that it affects both the swallowing of the patient and the speech also. They will also give a history of odynophagia, that is the difficult pain during the swallowing, and dysphagia also, that is the difficulty in the swallowing. Since they are not able to swallow oral secretions also, these group of patients, they will have the drooling of the saliva. In addition to that, they may also present as the painful swelling on the external part of the neck due to the cervical lymphadenopathy. And the cervical lymphadenopathy, which is most commonly, it involves the upper cervical node, and it is the level 2 node which is most commonly affected due to the tonsillitis and due to the quinsy. This is the jugulodigastric node. Sometimes the patient may also present to you as the earache, and this earache is due to the referred otalgia due to the similar sensory innervation of the pharynx and the ear. Lastly, they will also have the complaint of inability to open the mouth. This is called trismus. Trismus in quinsy, it occurs due to the irritation of the pterygoid muscle in the parapharyngeal space. If you look at this figure, this is the tonsil area and this is the bed of the tonsil. The potential neck space which is lateral to the tonsil is the parapharyngeal space, And if you see here, this is the pterygoid muscle. So whenever there is any inflammation in the peritonsillar space, there is a reflex irritation or the inflammation of the pterygoid muscle also. And this will lead to the trismus. And the trismus is one finding which helps us to differentiate between the peritonsillitis and the quinsy. A presence of trismus usually points out towards the quinsy stage. So now let us see what will be the examination finding in a classical case of quinsy. So the classical signs are when the patient will talk to you, you will find out that the patient is having a muffled type of speech, or it is also referred as the hot potato speech. Then you will find some sort of trismus. Sometimes it can be too severe that it hampers the examination and the treatment also. So if you see this clinical picture of the patient with the peritonsillar abscess, if you see here, here also we are finding difficulty to open the mouth. There is a presence of trismus. When you examine the tongue, sometimes it can be dry and coated, which means that the patient is severely dehydrated. Then examination of the tonsil, you will find out that there is a pronounced unilateral swelling, inflammation and redness of the tonsils, and which is being displaced medially to the opposite side. Again, when you examine the uvula, there will be edema of the uvula and it will be deviated to the other side. Because the abscess, it affects the soft palate, there will be unilateral edema and fullness, and sometimes it can involve the whole of the lateral pharyngeal wall. Sometimes these tonsillar swelling can be too severe that it can compromise the airway also. Now coming to the diagnosis. The diagnosis is made mainly clinically, but in these patients, the microbiological investigation which is asked for is the culture and sensitivity of the throat and the tonsillar region, which is taken at the time of examination, and the culture and sensitivity is also done of the aspirated pus sample once the incision and drainage is being done. The common organisms which causes quinsy are, the most common is the beta hemolytic streptococci, the others being the Streptococcus viridans, Staphylococcus aureus, Haemophilus influenzae, and there is a role of anaerobes also. Under the radiological investigations, the investigation of choice is the CT scan neck with the contrast, because it helps us to differentiate the cellulitis from the abscess. It helps us to guide the treatment of the patient. Moreover, the clinical presentation of the quinsy and the parapharyngeal space, they are more or less similar. So it helps us to differentiate and rule out other deep neck space in abscess. Especially the CT scan is helpful to differentiate quinsy from the parapharyngeal abscess. Now coming to the treatment, under the medical treatment, the patient needs hospitalization because these group of patients, they are dehydrated, they are ill, and they have some degree of airway obstruction. IV antibiotics must be started, and antibiotic is usually of the choice is to cover the group A beta hemolytic streptococci because this is the most common offending organism, and antibiotics against the anaerobes is initiated. Later on, the antibiotic may be changed and it is guided by the bacteriological culture report of the pus and the throat swab. Then hydration of the patient is maintained and analgesics is added to relieve the pain. When there is a pus, the dictum is we must take out the pus. So the drainage of the quinsy can be done by the needle aspiration at the most prominent point. Once there is a pus pointing of the abscess, it must be drained, or it can be drained by the incision and drainage. And ideally, it has to be done under general anesthesia to maintain the airway safety. And these group of patients, they are advised tonsillectomy after a duration of 4 to 12 weeks. With this, I come to an end of this video. Thank you for watching this video.